Hey guys, it's Aman from Our Rich Journey, and today we are talking about investing in weight loss drug companies, the companies that make Ozempic, Wegovy, and even some other weight loss drugs that you haven't heard of yet. Now, the companies that make these drugs have been on fire lately. Their stocks have gone to the moon. If you have been looking at the financials and listening to the earnings calls for these weight loss companies, you will see that they are building new factories, that they are expanding, that they are hiring more and more people because they believe that this is going to be the biggest thing ever. And so on today's video, I want to talk about the companies that are making these drugs, how you can invest in these companies, and I also want to talk about some of the ethical concerns that have been raised, both pro and con. But before we go any further, let's talk about how these drugs work. Drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy are part of a class of medication known as GLP-1 receptors. They mimic the action of a hormone called glycogen-like and peptide-1, which help regulate appetite and food intake. Now, by activating GLP-1 receptors, these drugs enhance the feeling of fullness and reduce hunger, leading to a decrease in calorie intake and weight loss. Now, they are primarily used for the management of obesity and related health conditions such as type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. With these new weight loss drugs that have been hitting the market, people will talk about the miracle effects it has had on them. From losing weight, to addressing their diabetes issues, to curbing their addictions, to alcohol, cigarettes, and drugs. But by far, most of the talk has been about how these drugs have been helping people lose a significant amount of weight. Now, these drugs have become so hot and in high demand because of the weight loss aspect of these drugs. So these drugs aren't just a one pill type of thing, something you take once and all of a sudden you experience weight loss. It's actually a medication that you have to stay on and be on for quite some time so that you can lose the weight and keep the weight off. Now, there's some really important things to keep in mind with this drug. It's very expensive, most insurance companies do not cover it, and that there is no long-term data to support how safe these drugs are after 5 to 10 years. Now, as far as how much weight a person can lose, studies have shown that about 14% of your current weight can be lost using these drugs. Now, that's just a little bit about the drugs. I am not an expert in this area, and if you want to learn more about them, you should definitely do your own research and talk to a doctor. So these types of drugs are made by pharmaceutical companies, and that's what I want to focus on in this video. I want to talk about the pros and cons of making an investment in these companies based off of where they're at as far as providing or developing weight loss drugs. So let's talk about the pros first. The first pro with investing in a weight loss drug company is that the world has been experiencing more obesity, and therefore the demand for these drugs is going to be relatively high. Now, the World Health Organization has called it a global obesity epidemic. According to their data, obesity rates have nearly tripled since 1975, making weight management a critical health priority. The next pro is that this market sector is experiencing significant growth. For example, Novo Nordisk, the drug company that makes Ozempic, has seen a surge in sales, contributing to the company's strong financial performance. The next pro is the innovation and continuous development that is taking place in this sector. You see, companies in this sector are continuously investing in research and development to create more effective and safer weight loss medications. Now, all of this can lead to new product launches and market expansion. So now let's talk about 3 major cons with investing in these types of companies. The first is regulatory risk. The pharmaceutical industry is subject to stringent regulations. The approval process for new drugs is rigorous and time-consuming, and the potential side effects can lead to market withdrawals or litigation issues. Now, I mentioned earlier that the long-term side effects for these weight loss drugs aren't completely known. So imagine if it was discovered that they had detrimental long-term effects. Imagine the stock price dropping, litigation, a number of things could happen that could collapse one of these companies that rely on the profits of these types of drugs. The next con is the market volatility that is involved in investing in pharmaceutical companies. Now, the pharmaceutical sector can be volatile due to factors such as changing healthcare policies, patent expirations, and competition from generic drugs. And the third con are the reimbursement challenges that people may have with a drug like this. And what I mean by this is insurance coverage. You see, insurance coverage and reimbursement for weight loss drugs can be inconsistent and can impact patient access, which in turn will impact the sales of these drugs. So those are the pros and cons. Now, as far as investing in these companies, let's talk about some of your investment options. Now, for the average person that wants to invest in these companies, you're gonna have to invest in them through the stock market. And so the first company that you can invest in is Novo Nordisk. Now, their ticker symbol is NVO, and it's a leading company in diabetes and obesity care, known for Ozempic and Wogovy. Your next investment option is Eli Lilly. So Eli Lilly, its ticker symbol is LLY, is another major player with a strong presence in diabetes care and a growing focus on obesity treatments. Your third stock option is Viking Therapeutics. It's a biopharmaceutical company that is developing solutions for obesity. Now, you can also look at Pfizer, but Pfizer is not as far ahead as some of these other companies. Now, if you don't want to invest in individual stocks, the next way that you can invest in these companies is through an ETF. So you can look at exchange-traded funds like the iShares Nasdaq Biotechnology ETF. Its ticker symbol is IBB. Or you can look at another ETF called the Healthcare Select Sector Spider Fund, XLV. Now, these two ETFs are very large and they provide exposure to a broader healthcare and biotech sector, but it also includes these weight loss drug companies. And if you don't want to invest in ETFs, there are also mutual funds that are actively traded mutual funds that also invest in this sector. So whatever brokerage you are with, I recommend that you go to that brokerage and you look to see how those actively managed mutual funds are investing in this sector. Now, I am just simply providing this as areas that you should go and do further research. If you are going to invest in this sector, know that it is very risky and you really must come up to speed to understand all the ins and outs of investing in this biomedical pharmaceutical area. So with the pros and the cons and the ways that you can invest in weight loss drugs, let's kind of change gears a bit and let's talk about some of the ethical pros and cons, the debates that have been raised about investing in these drugs or these drugs in particular. And we'll start with the cons. The first con are the exploitation concerns that have been raised by a lot of people. You see, some critics have argued that the pharmaceutical industry may exploit individuals' insecurities about body image for profit. The next con is access and equity. There are concerns about the accessibility and the affordability of weight loss medications, particularly for low-income individuals or those without adequate health insurance. The next ethical con is this overemphasis on medication. There is a risk that the availability of weight loss drugs could overshadow the importance of lifestyle interventions such as diet and exercise, which are critical components of sustainable weight management. And here are some pros that investors should consider related to the ethical aspects of investing in this area. The first pro is that it is promoting public health. Investing in companies that develop effective weight loss drugs can contribute to addressing the global obesity epidemic, which is linked to numerous health issues such as heart disease, diabetes, and certain cancers. The next pro is that by investing in these companies, you are also supporting innovation. Investments in this sector support research and development of new treatments, potentially leading to a breakthrough that can improve the quality of life for individuals struggling with obesity. The next pro-ethical question are the economic benefits that can take place by investing in these companies. The success of weight loss drug companies can have positive economic impacts, including job creation and increased tax revenues. Now, those are just a couple of the ethical pros and cons that every investor should be asking themselves if they plan on investing in this sector. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments below about your thoughts on investing in weight loss drug companies, investing in these companies in particular, and maybe some of the other companies that you have considered. I would also like to hear your thoughts on the ethical questions that I mentioned in this video. And if this video has given you food for thought on your investment journey, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and join the journey.